Welcome everyone. My name is Lieve Raas, I work for Digital Flanders, and I'm also active in this project as the consortium coordinator of this very nice consortium. Very happy to present a few months before the end of the project some results, especially here about how we have used the different kind of sensors in this project in a concrete project settings. And I will also go into depth on some standardization and connectivity issues we were facing during the project. So maybe recap here a little bit in a way that, as Pavel mentioned in his introduction, that citizen science is a very good way to provide more localized, detailed, and nuanced insights, and especially if you can combine this with algorithms to increase the quality of the data like Burcu has presented. We believe that citizen science outputs can really be used for local policy making. But to do that, you have to create trusts towards the policymakers, towards the one working with the data. We also noticed that providing tools, giving access to the data, to the results, are very important, and that these tools also have to provide context, especially in this project, because of the complexity of working with different kinds of sensors in one citizen science project. And of course, also the participation part in this project. We have also reached out to lower socioeconomic status groups, for example. In our Bulgarian pilot, for example, we worked with the Roma community, who was very hard to reach, usually, as we know. And so, just as Chris mentioned, the importance of having reliable sensors, easy to use, are very important towards these groups. Regarding the IoT citizen science sensors, basically, we have used 5 types of sensors in this project. Some of them were really further developed with the help of the project. This was the case for the 3 on the left-hand side, where consortium partners were active in the sensor. We have Teleram on the left-hand side, the SODAC mobile sensor measuring PM, and we have the NO2 measuring sensor of one planet, where we also have experimented with solar panels to provide the right amount of energy. And on the right-hand side, you will find the black carbon sensor, where we have worked very closely together with a German startup, let's say, who produced a very nice sensor, and we have supported them very much, especially on standardization, data connectivity, etc., during the project. And then, as also mentioned before, on the bottom side, we have the Luftdaten sensor, or now it's called sensor.community. This is a real low-cost, do-it-yourself sensor that was also being used during the project. I will tell you more now about one of the implementations in Flanders, in Herzele, a rather small community with a lot of children going to 3-4 schools in the city center. We worked closely together with the schools and the local community in the Compare project, on, let's say, measuring the outcomes of implementing a school street. Just a few words about the school street. This is, in fact, a traffic measure where the local community and the school block the streets where the school entrance is located when children arrive at school and when they leave at school in the afternoon. So for about an hour, the road is blocked, and we really want to know what is the effect before and after on traffic, on air quality, not only in the school street itself, but also in the surrounding streets. And this is why we needed a high density of sensors installed at a local community. And if you want, of course, citizens has played a very big role in supporting these different kind of sensors. And this is also what makes this project unique amongst other citizen science projects. This was done by the fact that we have worked with 5 different IoT sensors, all transmitting data at the same time, and all supported by the local community. It also received a lot of press attention as well, which, of course, contributed to, let's say, the take-up by this initiative in the Flemish region. I will say now a few words about the sensors. Already, a lot of things are told by Chris and Burcu. Here we have the NO2 sensors. 3 of them were installed. In fact, also as a kind of background sensors measuring the NO2, which is very much related to the exhaust of cars. Which also next to NO2 was which also measuring things like temperature, humidity, pressure, and so on. Also, let's say, information that are very important to be part of our simulation modeling. Then we have worked with more than 20 mobile particular matter sensors. So we're not only measuring here the surrounding of the school, but also children could, let's say, monitor the air quality when they drive by bike or by bus, even going by foot from their home to the school. So this allows us to give, let's say, a wider overview of the air quality situation that people were facing when going to school and when at the school. The black carbon sensors, there we have installed 8 black carbon sensors. They are, let's say, also very important to measure the exhaust from cars, from vehicles, a little bit comparable with the NO2. This sensor is based on the accelerometer principle. This means that you have 2 filters in your device, a reference one and a measurement ones, and you have to change these filters from day to day. So, for example, this was very interesting to install at schools where children could participate to the project by changing these filters from time to time. During the project, we have helped to improve this very interesting citizen science project done by a German startup, as said before. For example, the whole Wi-Fi connectivity was derived from the Talram-1 sensor. So this was one of the ways we have supported them. We also have tested these sensors extensively. And we have to say that the results were quite spectacular in a way that they come very close to a sensor that costs almost 15 times more than this cheaper version costs around 400 or 500 euros for one sensor. For Telram, we also used more than 20 Telrams in the local community of Herzele. Installed at people's home, mostly also at the school. The take-up there was very big. There were far more people who wanted to install such a sensor than we could provide sensors. So this allows us and gives us, let's say, the comfortable situation to choose the most interesting streets in the surrounding of the school to have the sensors installed. And this, of course, also helped to increase the accuracy of the measurement of the sensors as well. So here you have a picture on where the Telram sensors and the air quality sensors were located. You also see here the red box, which is the school street where we were measuring. With help of a super champion, we were able to get the sensors installed in a very comfortable way. And also very important, we were able to keep them in the air during the whole measurement period of the citizen science project, the school street project. So this means before and after the school street have been implemented. So here you find an overview on how we have dealt with the calibration algorithm on the one hand. So Burcu also have explained that extensively, but it's not only, let's say, when you work with citizen science data, not only about calibrating the data, also very important is to provide the right information around this data, what is called metadata, so that people and local communities and so on can see what is this data about, what kind of quality can we expect, and so on. Another important measure was to look at the data provision itself. So we are using advanced programming interfaces. And for example, for Telram, we also changed the measurement period from an hourly basis to a 15-minute basis, which allows us to measure in a far better way in the school street. In Belgium, for example, when the school started at 8:30 in the morning, in the first measurements on an hourly basis, you can only, let's say, measure half an hour during the school street, half an hour without school street. Now, the change in API gives us the opportunity to measure only the period that the school street was active, which of course don't have to explain was very important in terms of data provision and of course at the end drawing conclusions out of the data. To draw these conclusions, by the way, we worked with a number of useful tools. On the right-hand side at the top of the screen, you can see the tool we have developed to measure the routes to school using the mobile SODEX sensor. On the left-hand side, you can see the dashboard we have used to measure traffic, air quality, and so on around the school. This allows us also to compare groups of sensors with other groups of sensors. So you can use not only this dashboard for school streets, but you can also use it for your local mobility plan, where you, in fact, everywhere where you want to compare one group of sensors with another group, you can use this dashboard. We also noticed that, for example, to school children and so on, because we also have used this data at schools. So we have provided some course material and did some live lessons with the dashboard to also, let's say, activate and involve students into the whole process. On the right-hand side, you can see one of the other tools, which is an augmented reality app, where people also can see the sensors active in their environment, and they can directly see what kind of sensor it is and what the latest information is that was measured by the sensor. This brings me to the last point, and this is about data connectivity. So during the project, we were facing some data connectivity issues. We are in contact with the European Commission to see how this can be improved. Because a number of our sensors, and especially the sensors that are very easy to use, like Telram, for example, but also the SODEX sensor, they're using low bandwidth, low power networks, which is called LTE-M or NB-IoT. Problem is that the access to this kind of networks, they are in fact mobile sensor networks, so you need a SIM card, but not every location in Europe is able to give this or to provide these networks, which means or has meant, for example, in Bulgaria, that it was impossible to use these sensors like Telram version 2, the new easy to install one. Also, on the countryside in many EU countries, we are also facing some problems with access to this kind of networks. And to create a level playing field for large-scale IoT-based citizen science, but broader sensor experiments, we see that we are facing some problems. So our question to the European Commission and, in fact, the telecom community at the end and telco providers is to switch on, because it's built in this kind of technology, to switch on their networks so that they allow direct access to for this IoT devices. A number of conclusions to finalize. First, what is important that that combining public participation and involvement is doable even with a large number of sensors as part of your citizen science experiments. That also providing open and state-of-the-art tools is really important, and it can also lead to new policy outcomes. You can convince local communities to invest in such an experiment, to use the data, to share the data with the community, which also means a certain amount of vulnerability for the local policymakers, because sometimes they have the feeling that they don't own the complete policy making process anymore. Combining multiple sensors, this is quite unique for this project. We are noticed that the rollout planning of your sensors is very important. When you, of course, I don't have to explain, when you roll out 5 different types of sensors at the same time, this needs more planning. There are more uncertainties and so on involved in that. So a good strategy is important here. The alignment of sensor locations is also very important, where you install the different kind of sensors. Multi-partner support, partners in this project, but also local community, of course, the citizen scientists and so on, schools. So this is also, let's say, a challenge, but doable to bring in multi-partners, as long as everyone sees a clear benefit from them. We also were confronted with complex supporting tools like the dashboards you have seen in the previous slides. It's very important to give a lot of information about how the data is processed, how it's visualized, just make it easy to understand, and a little bit comparable with, let's say, what Chris was telling about, make it simple when it comes to your sensors. The same is absolutely true for your dashboards and your visualizations. Make it correct but simple. Data standardization. There is also an increased need for data standardization. We were using the OGC, Open Geospatial Consortium, SensorThings API, but also on a data standardization level. You need, let's say, a lot of there is a lot of work to do, for example, to work on data ontologies, data semantics, and so on, that also let's say, these sensors are able to talk to each other and to exchange data. We also we were confronted with metadata standards, where it's especially difficult with the current one to include information about the data quality. That's a long-known problem with metadata standards. And on a connectivity level, as I've explained, creating a level playing field on a European level to make sure that the IoT sensor data can be captured by your platforms and tools at the end. This is it from my side, and I think now there is a Q&A, Pavel.